Okay, so back to the hand, just so everybody remembers what happened. There's a bunch of people at the table, and I basically there's two kind of shorter stacks here, Miss Pro and Big Slick Pro, and the 10K. This guy kept talking about 10K buy-ins, and then the kid who every time he opened, he only 7x'd, and then this villain was an older gentleman, older than me. I mean, he was probably in his early 50s, maybe late 40s. He wasn't that much older than me, I guess, but anyone over 40 is older than me, even though I'm really close to that. And he was pretty cautious how he played, but a couple times I remembered earlier on, he like, if he had jacks, he'd like 8x it. So like, if the guy ever had a big hand, he would play it big. So like, really, when he flats you pre-flop, there's no way he has a big hand. It's possible. He's always 3-bet his big hands. So I had started opening almost every hand here because I had chips. I had over 40 big blinds, and everybody started to really tighten up. The payout jumps were pretty big. It was 12,000 for first. I think it was 8,000 for second, 5,000 for third, maybe 4,000 for fourth, and like 3,000 and 2,800, 2,500, something like that for sixth. So there's kind of a big jump when you're playing six-handed. I mean, it's a big difference. So I was opening a lot. I opened 5-8 offsuit mostly because of who was in the blinds. I was very, even though Miss Pro and Big Slick Pro kind of knew I was starting to, push the table around, it was going to be very unlikely that they would shove into me because I got these people left behind them to act, and they had started folding almost all my opens too. And these guys are really waiting for hands. I mean, I'm gonna open 100% of hands. Pretty much from opening 8-5 offsuit, it's almost 100% of hands, so it's probably like 90% of hands. And they're folding 90% of hands. So I mean, stealing there when you have 40 big blinds is gonna be very profitable. So I'm opening, and the villain is the older guy. He flats me, and the flop comes Jack 4-6 rainbow. So there's basically, when I see bet this flop and he calls, if he calls, he doesn't have a lot of hands. He might have a pair under the jacks, like 9s or 8s or 7s. He could have like ace-6 and have a 6. He could have a weak jack. He's probably not going to have ace-jack. He's probably 3-bet ace-jack. He could possibly have ace-jack. He's going to have king-jack. He's going to have 10-jack. Sometimes not. I don't think he's too often going to have 10-jack. Mostly king-jack and queen-jack are the two hands that are in his range. And he could possibly have pocket 4s, pocket 6s. Those are the hands that obviously are a problem because he's never going to fold those. So he checks to me, he led into me. He led into me, and I raised to try to show strength because I had a gut shot. And when he leads into me, he's basically telling me he has a piece and he wants to see where he's at because that's where they taught him in his local poker game. That's what you do. You hit a piece, you bet, and then the other guy folds when he has you beat, and he raises when he folds when he doesn't have you beat, and he raises when he has you beat, and that's how you know. But I guess I had been so aggressive with this guy, he decided to flat me to see what I was going to do on the turn. And when the offsuit 9 hits, the 9 really, I mean, he could have pocket 9s. That's really my biggest concern. He's not ever really going to have jack 9. So if the turn's like a king or a queen, I'm going to be a little bit worried because really I think those are the hands that he's going to continue with a lot when I raise him on the flop is some kind of jack. If the turn's an ace, I'm going to be worried about betting again and anything high really. But if the turn was like a 4 or a 6, a lot of cards. If it was a 5, I might have checked only because I get a lot of showdown value. I get a lot more outs at that point if he has a pair. But when it's basically a nothing card, does nothing to help my hand. But it also is likely going to do nothing to help his hand. I bet again. And he, at this point, is really thinking, are you going to play for my stack? So what I wanted to do was just explain what's going through my head at this particular moment and why I would ever show my cards after this hand. So basically, if I don't show my cards, he's going to think I have it, which I think is what all of you are thinking. I want him to think that. And I guess I do want him to think that I have it. But I think when I do it again, first of all, I'm probably not going to do it again to him unless I have it. And I think that a lot of my strengths are at the table is valuing my hand in perception in comparison to the other person's hand.